And hello and welcome to bonus number 4. And these little bonus topics are intended to sort of cover areas that I think you might find very interesting. And one function of these little bonus topic videos is to give you a peek ahead at some of the things that we'll be going into in much greater depth. And one of the major components of your internal map is something called a script. And we have little scripts and we have big scripts and we have a lot of scripts that are lifelong. You play them out your entire life. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. So the idea of having a lifelong script is really connected to your subconscious realm. These scripts run in the background. Computer programmers might call them a subprogram or a background process. So you have a lot of these processes that you don't have to monitor in real time, but they have an impact on you in your awake, conscious state. So we'll be covering that a little bit, and then we'll talk about inner desires and how these scripts are really trying to satisfy desire, much like our belief system is trying to satisfy our inner desires. Our scripts are trying to put together an elaborate scenario, almost like a little video or a little film or a little play in which our desires are met. Some of them are very resourceful, although the ones I'm interested in today are unresourceful beliefs or unresourceful scripts. And they are kind of the same. So you believe that doing these things will meet your desires, but there are unresourceful ones. So we could call them unresourceful scripts or unresourceful beliefs. And I'm going to use an example of one that's very, very common, and you might be able to relate to it, called the victim triangle script. And then finally, we'll just talk in general about lifelong scripts and how, with your internal map of reality, you can start to identify resourceful scripts from unresourceful ones and what tools you will have to enhance your scripts and to make them all resourceful for you. So as we've been talking along, the 10% of our conscious mind really isn't doing all the work. We're just observing. So your conscious mind is like the example I use is the flashlight in a dark room where you're just putting a spot of light in a vast, vast area. It's in the subconscious that these scripts run. And a lot of people won't even know that they have a script running in their subconscious. And when you say to them, you seem to repeat this process over and over again. It seems like you're always doing the same thing. So one example of a repetitive script is where you keep dating the same kind of person and having the similar kind of result, or getting jobs and always ending up such that you have to quit your job or you get fired. Or, and again, I'm talking about unresourceful scripts because those are the ones that limit us. If you have successful, resourceful scripts, we don't really need to talk about them. They're good. It's the ones that are unresourceful that we need to target. So these scripts, as I said earlier, are all trying to meet your inner desires. So you want something and you want it really bad. And so you create a scenario based on your belief that if I do this script, I will get what I want. But again, talking about unresourceful scripts, I'm reminded again of that young boy that was in my drama class. It was actually a creative movement class. And his script said that every time people were doing something, he had to over-participate. He had to overreact, be the loudest, stand in the middle of the group, and dominate. And that was his script, and that's what he did all the time. So that was an example of a little script, but it was very, very unresourceful. And the result of it is, yes, he did get attention. Yes, people did pay attention to him, but he got negative attention. People were very upset with him, and quite often they would say things to him. The scripts I'm interested in today are ones that are a little bit more involved. They're scripts that you repeat over and over again, but they're a little bit more elaborate. For those of you who are interested in doing more research on this, you can look up something called Games People Play. Just Google that or search for that, and you'll find all kinds of information about this process. And sometimes they're called games, but I like to call them scripts. So the unresourceful ones are based on a belief that if you do this, you will get your desires met. But the problem is you're on a treadmill. You keep doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting to get the result. But you never quite get the result. You get something else. This is also connected to making those 3 wishes, but you end up getting the opposite of what you wished for. So this all involves in how you're communicating with your subconscious. And we will, again, later on in our internal map of reality course, we're going to drill into this a bit deeper. But think of yourself or someone you know, and sometimes it's called being in a rut. And you notice people will do the same thing or a similar thing. Now it's slightly different. The faces will change. The names are different to protect the innocent, but the script is the same. So let me give you an example of a very powerful script that you might be able to realize. And it's called the victim triangle script. This is a well-known script, well documented. If you, again, do an internet search for victim triangle, you'll see reams of information about it. So we'll use this as one example of scripts. I'm not going to get into how to disable the script. I just want to identify it. Later on in our modules, we'll talk about how to disable and how to realign scripts. But let's look at this one. So there's 3 parts to it. There is, at the very bottom, a victim. So to have a victim triangle, you need a victim. But in order to have a victim, you also need someone to persecute or something to persecute that victim. So you need a persecutor. And you need, of course, the rescuer, someone that will come in with the cape like Superwoman and save you. So I heard one thing just an hour ago from my son, who a friend of his did something that was very, very dangerous, almost life-threatening, to become a victim and to try to force his girlfriend to pay attention to him. If I do this, I will become very disarmed. So he acted like the victim, hoping that his friends and his girlfriend would want to come in and rescue him. But because the girlfriend did not respond, she became the persecutor. So he's in this position, almost killed himself. Well, in my opinion, it looked like he could have very easily done it. Did some very reckless things to draw attention to himself. The people that rescued him this time were his friends. They came in and got his attention and went to his place and saw his posts on the social media that he was in real serious problems. And they came in and rescued him. And, of course, Hugh was the persecutor, his girlfriend. But let's look at another scenario. You might know someone that always seems to need your help, and you are the rescuer. But all it takes is that one time that you don't come in and rescue them, that they will do what? They will turn you into the persecutor. They will say, well, Steve, I was in really, didn't you get my emails and my phone calls? Like, I was really needed your help. I needed that $20 or $30, whatever. And because you didn't respond to me, I was not able to blah, 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 blah. So they blame you for something that because you did not become a rescuer again. So this process is quite a classic one. So you might be the rescuer at some point and helping someone, or you might be a victim looking for someone to come in and save you, or you might be the victim who points the finger at someone as being the reason that you are in your nasty situation. Or you might be the persecutor who points your finger at someone and says, well, you wouldn't be in this position if, or you might be the persecutor who points your finger at a rescuer and says, don't help these people, they blah, 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 blah. So you can play any of these roles. Now, I want to mention here that it's not that any one of these roles are good or bad. If you're a victim because you've been in some way hurt, that's a valid situation. There's nothing you can do about it. And if you're the type of person that wants to help people, that's great. Go and help those people. So if you're a victim, accept help. If you're a rescuer, go help people. And if you're one of these people that looks around and says, like throwing cold water on people's faces and saying, look, don't go and rescue that person, and stop being a victim. If you want to be that sort of reality person, that's okay too. So none of these roles are inherently good or bad. They're just roles, okay? And the script isn't necessarily good or bad. It's either resourceful or unresourceful. The bottom line is, if you need to be a victim to survive and to get through your day and to do what you got to do, hopefully at the end of it, you are healed. Now, if you have a script that keeps repeating and at the end of it, people are upset that you made people persecutors, and unjustly so, or people begin to feel that they've been rescuing you one too many times, or as a victim, you yourself feel at the end of this process, the end of the script, you might feel sad or something was missing. So the point here is that these scripts can run very, very short periods. It can run for an hour, but a lot of them will run for weeks, months, even years. There are people who play the role of the victim their entire lives. And we're going to talk about why scripts would get in place and last an entire lifetime. We're going to talk about your timeline and the root cause event. Something triggered that person to be a persecutor, a rescuer, or a victim. And if it's not resourceful for you to be any one of these characters, and bear in mind, you might be all three of them. You might see yourself over the life of a script being a victim, then being a persecutor, and then being a rescuer. It's quite common that victims become persecutors and change the rescuer into a victim. Anyway, it's an interesting script. Keep your eye open for it. And if you see yourself being any one of these threes, examine and see if this is a repetitive script. These scripts can last your entire lives. And this is why, in this course, I want you to really begin to look at yourself and to say, am I running a script that's unresourceful? And am I running a script that has a bad ending? Am I making a film with a bad? So you have this opportunity to redo the film, to change the script, to update the characters, and to end it in a real positive and resourceful way. So that's what we'll be doing. I just wanted to introduce this topic. And so pay attention to it, do some more research, and we will be coming into this topic, I believe, under meta programs. But in any event, we will be going into this in greater detail later. So thank you, and we will continue now with the rest of the course. Now, I believe this is the end of tonight's session, so please leave comments, and if you want to join the Patreon group, please just go to patreon.com/Stephen D. Oliver, no spaces, and we'll see you in the workshop. Oh, one final note is that I will be doing, as we're doing the premieres on this, I will be doing live streams for the Patreons, and probably I'll leave it open, where we'll answer questions and go over the exercises. So there will be live streams, probably on the weekend afternoon. Okay, so probably like on a Saturday or Sunday, but I will get the information out to you. Again, thank you, and we will see you in the next session.